50 Cent isn't just hip-hop's ultimate provocateur. For over 20 years, he's been far more than the loudmouth or internet troll everyone loves to laugh at. Behind the bravado lies a mind that studies the patterns of fame, power, and street culture with surgical precision. He's been a prophet, a man who predicted the downfall of moguls, the tragedy of young stars, and the collapse of his own team, all long before it actually happened. Yet, time and time again, his warnings were ignored. From Sean Diddy Combs' legal upheavals to Pop Smoke's untimely death, 50 Cent saw it coming. The irony? Almost every prediction came true, and the culture refused to take him seriously. Today, we're going to unpack the stories, warnings, and tragedies that revealed the one truth most people missed. 50 Cent has been hip-hop's unheeded seer. Few outsiders understand the depth of 50 Cent's long-standing critique of Sean Diddy Combs. While mainstream media painted Diddy as a mogul, a pillar of the culture, 50 Cent refused to join the applause. Instead, he openly ridiculed him, famously declaring, "The problem is always Puffy." This wasn't a casual diss, it was a warning. He avoided Diddy's exclusive parties and stayed clear of environments he deemed toxic, signaling that something was off long before anyone else noticed. Many dismissed his observations as trolling, but history would prove him right. In 2024, federal investigations and civil lawsuits revealed years of alleged misconduct and racketeering, validating 50 Cent's critique. He risked public perception and industry connections to speak the quiet truth. And while the world was focused on chart battles and social media drama, he had already been analyzing the undercurrents of power in hip-hop. But Diddy was only the first domino. Others would soon fall under 50 Cent's scrutiny. 50 Cent's wariness extended to Jay-Z, widely revered as a benevolent business genius. During the legendary 2007 album showdown between his Curtis and Kanye West's Graduation, 50 Cent suggested that Jay-Z, then president of Def Jam, strategically maneuvered the outcome in Kanye's favor. Kanye's victory wasn't just a sales win. It symbolized a shift in hip-hop away from the gangster persona 50 Cent embodied, essentially ending his reign at the top. Beyond album battles, 50 Cent watched Jay-Z's title venture with skepticism, predicting that hubris, internal conflict, and overconfidence would cripple the platform. Years later, the reality confirmed him. Tidal struggled, and Jay-Z sold a majority stake for far less than rivals, underscoring how often the facade hides ruthless business calculation. 50 Cent had an uncanny ability to see beyond the public image to the underlying moves, strategies, and mistakes that fans would never notice. And while he predicted mogul missteps, his attention was not limited to executives. He turned equally sharp focus to young stars in the spotlight. Pop Smoke was one of the brightest young talents to emerge from Brooklyn. 50 Cent recognized it immediately. He didn't just mentor him in the studio, he tried to protect him from the very dangers that fame and street ties create. 50 Cent repeatedly warned Pop Smoke to limit exposure to risky environments, to be mindful of his crew, and to avoid streets that might become death traps. His guidance was a blueprint for survival in an industry that romanticizes danger. Yet tragedy struck in February 2020 when Pop Smoke was murdered in a Hollywood Hills home invasion. The lesson was grim. Raw talent combined with street ties is a volatile mix, one that can be lethal if precautions are ignored. 50 Cent's foresight wasn't just theoretical, it became painfully real. Pop Smoke's death echoed 50 Cent's long-standing message. Fame without caution, particularly when connected to street credibility, is a recipe for disaster. 6ix9ine's career serves as a chilling illustration of 50 Cent's predictive power. The controversial rapper was known for aggressive posturing and his unvetted crew. 50 Cent repeatedly mocked 6ix9ine, not for his artistry, but because he saw the warning signs of disaster. He predicted that if legal trouble ever came, 6ix9ine would cooperate with authorities, a prediction that came to horrifying fruition. When the rapper testified against former gang members to avoid a life sentence, 50 Cent's assessment was validated. It wasn't luck or coincidence, it was pattern recognition, insight into behavior, and the ability to forecast consequences that most of the culture ignored. 6ix9ine became the poster child for what happens when bravado and unchecked loyalty collide, a story 50 Cent had been telling all along. Even stars like Lil Durk, who have achieved enormous success, were not exempt from 50 Cent's warnings. After meeting Durk, 50 Cent quietly advised him to watch his people, referring to his Only the Family crew. That seemingly simple advice foreshadowed years of tragedy and legal troubles. Durk's associates repeatedly became entangled in cycles of violence, conspiracy, and murder-for-hire allegations. The loyalty that bound these crews together became a liability, proving the wisdom of 50 Cent's cautionary words. Time and time again, he predicted that a star's connections could quickly turn from protective to destructive, but few took the advice seriously, just as he had foreseen. G-Unit, 50 Cent's flagship group, perfectly illustrates the tension between talent and discipline. Members like Young Buck and Lloyd Banks had immense skill, but internal conflicts, financial mismanagement, and a lack of commitment repeatedly undermined their potential. 50 Cent openly criticized Banks for lacking sustained hunger despite lyrical gifts, and clashed with Buck over money and dedication. These weren't petty arguments. They were warnings about paths that would inevitably lead to downfall. In 2020, Young Buck's Chapter 7 bankruptcy confirmed 50 Cent's long-standing concerns. Talent alone cannot secure longevity. Discipline, focus, and adherence to advice are equally essential. 50 Cent didn't just point this out, he lived it, providing the blueprint and watching as lessons were ignored. From powerful moguls to young talents to his closest collaborators, 50 Cent's predictions have been startlingly accurate. Yet the culture consistently overlooked him. He identified patterns, foresaw consequences, and issued warnings, but these truths were dismissed as trolling, arrogance, or bravado. The irony is staggering. The man who consistently told the truth about the dark underbelly of hip-hop was the one nobody took seriously. Every beef, tragedy, and financial collapse 50 Cent foresaw reinforces the same point. He's not merely a participant in the drama, he's the seer, observing its trajectory, warning, and then documenting the fallout. 50 Cent's story is not just a tale of beefs and drama. It is a masterclass in foresight, mentorship, and the cost of ignoring warnings. He predicted the rise and fall of moguls, the vulnerabilities of young stars, and the consequences of unchecked behavior in his own team. And yet the same culture that watches him for entertainment often misses the lessons embedded in his actions. How many more warnings will go unheeded? How many tragedies will occur before the industry truly listens? In hip-hop, the prophecy is still unfolding, and 50 Cent is still watching, ready to speak the truths that no one else dares to acknowledge.